What is it like to turn our heart toward God? God, the eternal being. There are many paths by which we may come to know God, and yet there is only one God to know. In other words, there is absolute truth. But the journey that we take to discover that truth, depending on where you start, can look very different. One truth, infinite expressions or faces of truth. This is the beauty of plurality. We can witness the one eternal being in every one and everything. Hi, my name is Trav. I am this particular manifestation of consciousness that I call me. I am one of the many faces of God. I am that great I am, and so are you. When I realize that I am not separate from God, then I can see God in you. Strangely enough, this realization does not require me to be a nice guy. This is important. Hang with me. In fact, the more I understand my boundaries here in this physical realm, the more capable I am of self-realization. That's important, especially for those of us people pleasers, those of us whose boundaries were violated from a very young age. We learn to be generous, nurturing, compassionate, and kind, but we can forget the nice. Nice refuses to speak truth in love. Nice cannot confront when confrontation is necessary. Nice is religious. Nice is self-righteous. Nice is weak. We might even say, fuck nice. Sometimes we have to say fuck nice to avoid saying fuck you. Fuck nice is synonymous with forgiveness. Nice people cannot forgive because forgiveness is potent and nice is impotent. I'll say it again. In order to realize my deepest self, the God self, Christ self, I must know how to establish and maintain boundaries between myself and all the other particular manifestations of consciousness in this physical world. If we were not taught how to establish and maintain boundaries, we will lose ourselves in our relationships. If we do not know boundaries, we will give away our power in our attempts to experience unity with other human beings. In other words, we will worship the creation instead of the creator, idolatry, objectification. This is a bitter lesson. It's a big lesson. One might say that it is the only lesson. So it's okay if it takes a lifetime or many lifetimes to finally get it. It is the first lesson, and it is the last lesson, and the only lesson in between. Yeshua came to show us how to hang on a cross without becoming a victim. In other words, he showed us how to maintain our boundaries even when someone takes control of our physical body. Yeshua showed us how to maintain our posture even when our hands and our feet are nailed to a tree, even when someone sticks pins in us as if we were in their butterfly collection. We are not obligated to give up our power. Love never fails. Nice cannot hang on a cross in love. We call Yeshua Son of God because that is who he was, that is who he is, and it is all he will ever be. Yeshua showed us how to overcome death. We crucified him, we laid him in a tomb, and on the third day he rose again. Death has no power over him, and he tells us that we have the power to do even greater things than he did. In fact, it is our true nature to do things even greater than what Yeshua did. It is our responsibility as we accept our divine nature. We come to understand over the course of our lifetimes that only grace can accomplish this. In other words, it is miraculous. Only the Christ nature, the Godhood, can love in the midst of torture, humiliation, and shame. There is no greater spiritual practice than this, and this is why we call him Son of God. Yeshua did not come to create a new religion for us. Yeshua came to show us how to overcome both church and state. He showed us how to overcome religion and empire. He came to show us the way. He did not come so that we could be nice Christians. Fuck nice. Plurality tells us that the way might look very different in each manifestation of consciousness, and yet there is still only one way, one truth, and one life, and the life of Yeshua showed us how to walk in that way. And it is in the sacrifices that we make for love where we discover this one way in our own lives. We experiment with all the ways that love is not, and this is what we call sin. It is sinful to give away our power. It is sinful to become a victim of the oppressors. What we resist persists. Do not give your enemies your power. Love your enemies. Pray for those who hurt you. Bless those who curse you. We came here to learn to love in a world that crucifies love. We will sacrifice ourselves for love until we realize that what we were told was not love at all. And this is what I mean when I say that we must learn to establish and maintain appropriate boundaries. The boundaries are internal, and until we realize that internal locus of control, we can only posture, acting like we are tough guys, pretending like we don't care. We put on masks until life strips those masks off of us. We perform until authenticity is all we have left to give. And this is what it is like to turn our hearts toward God, the eternal being. Everything false is stripped from us. God cannot be fooled. You cannot fool yourself. When we surrender to the truth is revealed in us. We are not separate from God. We are not separate from one another. Dead religion teaches us that God is out there, somewhere in the sky or the stars. Yeshua taught us that God is with us, God is among us, God is in each of us, and God is in all of us. We are the body of God. Christ is the head. Yeshua taught us about the Christ by getting over himself. In order to discover the gentleness, we must be bold. Yeshua was simultaneously a lion and a lamb. In order to discover true kindness, we must be aware. Yeshua was wise like a serpent and gentle like a dove. We follow in the way of love. Although we may benefit from any spiritual practice or religion which helps us along the way, we do not follow in the way of any religion. Yeshua showed us how to give full respect to our culture while also rising above our culture. And in fact, to know the truth, we must be liberated from the culture of our family. We conserve those aspects of our culture that must be conserved, that we might be liberated from the cult of our culture. We do not believe things just because we are told. We do not believe things just because we read them in our religious text. We test and try every spirit. We confront when confrontation is necessary, and this is one way we might describe what it means to love God. We transcend rationalism. We transcend pluralism. We integrate reason. We integrate plurality. And this is what Christhood is like. Christianity is the religion that puts us under Yeshua. Yeshua invited us to join him on his level. The eternal being, God, does not ask us to put ourselves under him. God invites us into communion that transcends and includes all reason and plurality. And this is what we mean when we say, to the holy, all is holy. Everything is sacred. Even a cross when we're nailed to it. Even the blood that flows from us. God hides the greatest power behind the cross. We surrender by going to the places none of us want to go. We gain our true life only by surrendering our individual life. This surrender does not make us a victim. Yeshua taught us how to hang on a cross without becoming a victim. Be still now and know that great I am in yourself. This is what it means to meditate. You are free to discover this for yourself right now.